Today, we are talking about love. L-O-V-E. Love. Hey, what's up you guys? It's Avery and welcome back to my channel, A Very Avid Reader. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you've never been here before, hey. So, as you can tell from the title, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about contemporary romances. And I'm not going to bash the genre, but I am going to talk about some of my issues that I have with the genre, especially ones that I've been feeling recently. So if you love some contemporary romances and that is just your jam, will you enjoy this video? Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll think some of my points are valid and you'll have some things to say in response, and that's welcomed, and would love to hear it in the comments. But I'm just going to be talking about some of the contemporary romances that I've read recently, things that I didn't love so much about it, different tropes that are really popular right now that just have gotten boring, and what I think is necessary for a contemporary romance to be next level good. Am I just being bitter because I am alone? Maybe. You're gonna have to come to that conclusion yourself. Let me know, okay? Because I can't be objective here. But without further ado, let's just get started. So the contemporary romances that I've read in the past few months, there's been like 5, and a lot of these have similar themes and tropes in them, and these are kind of the ones that I'm going to be referencing. And I recently read November 9, which I made a whole video about that book, so go check that out if you dare. It's not a very positive vlog, but it's funny, so check it out if you'd like to be amused. Beach Read, which I thought was fine. It was just kind of good. Wasn't amazing, wasn't horrible. The Unhoneymooners, same deal. It was just a contemporary romance. The Happily Ever After Playlist, and The Love Hypothesis. So the first thing that drives me kind of crazy about these stories is that they follow the same exact plot structure. It's like a formula for writing a contemporary romance is hit these certain things, end it this way, so that it's a contemporary romance. And don't get me wrong, I understand that in all books we have certain milestones we have to reach in order for it to, be a plot. But do they all need to be the same? I don't think so, but I feel like a lot of them are. So first off, we have them meeting, and either they hate each other at first, or they're friends, or whatever, but we have them establishing their relationship, and there's a mutual attraction. And usually they're being put into a situation where they have to spend lots of time together. And then the next step is them spending time together and falling in love. But the kicker to this is that in one way or another, they are denying that this is happening. Either the main character is denying their obvious feelings for the other character, or the main character is aware that they're having these feelings, but they can't even find it comprehensible to think that the person that they are falling in love with also has feelings for them back. They're like, no, he doesn't feel the same way about me, or she doesn't feel the same way about me. There's no way. And it's like, what? Are you blind? You guys are spending so much time together. You're obviously flirting. You obviously have this physical chemistry, but all the characters are like, they don't like me back. Ugh, I'm the only one feeling this way. Or, oh, he has such a devilish smile and quick wit, but he's not good for me. I don't like him. I don't have feelings for him. Hello? So that's something that drives me crazy, is that I get with any relationship, you're always kind of wondering, oh, I like this person, do they like me back? But if the character is literally complimenting you and saying how gorgeous you are, and you're just like, oh, but does he like me? That about to make me lose my mind. So then all of these angsty feelings culminate in sex. And pretty soon after, there's always a big fight. And it's either these outside forces that have been, conflicting factors. Finally, it all comes together and culminates in a big misunderstanding. The kicker here is that it's a misunderstanding that could be solved with the simplest of communications. But no, usually it's the main character who we're in the point of view of, and it's a lot of the ones I've read, it's females. She's like, oh my gosh, this happened, I can't talk to him about it. Or, I'm blocking him and never gonna speak to him. What? Guys, we need to be emotionally intelligent. We've got to communicate when things happen. It's just very unrealistic to me when this happens to these characters, is something big happens and they just are like, peace, don't want to talk about it. Oh, to hear without my ears. And I'm like, let's just communicate and this could all be wrapped up real quick. But then finally they do communicate, figure out what's going on, and they end up together. Happy ending, woo! Another extremely common ending of these books is in the epilogue. It always ends with an engagement. I think maybe all of the books that I talked about at the beginning ends with an engagement in the epilogue, to the point where it's not even surprising. I know as soon as I get to the epilogue, I'm like, oh, this is the engagement scene. That's boring. That is so predictable. Maybe I'm just learning about myself as a reader that I don't like predictability, and so many of these stories follow this basic formula, and I think that's what just irks me. I'm like, where's the creativity? And there's always some creativity in, you know, what the characters are dealing with on the side, what their career goals are, but it's all the same exact structure. No thank you, no thank you, I'm bored. Moving on from the structure, I think so many of these tropes are getting so overdone. Fake dating to me is always really stupid because no one does that in real life. And I understand fiction is a way to escape, but I also enjoy fiction that is somewhat realistic, that makes you like it because you're like, that could happen to me. But fake dating, come on. When do grown adults in their late 20s, in their 30s, fake date? It's crazy. Along those lines, enemies to lovers, I really enjoy enemies to lovers, but I feel like we have an unhealthy boundary between enemies to lovers and there being this like miscommunication between the two, and the guy just literally being an asshole. But it's always, no, he's such a jerk to everyone, but you know, halfway through the book I found out he's sweet. Halfway through the book we're finding out this guy who's an asshole is actually nice. Newsflash, that's a red flag. If he's an asshole at any point of your interaction with him, that's what we call a thank you next. It doesn't matter if he's fine. If he doesn't know how to communicate with you because he either is jealous of you or he wants you so bad, he's been pining for you, so he takes it out in a way where he's just a jerk. Red flags, ladies. Run. I think that's something that we need to quit. I feel like that promotes toxic relationships with these toxic men. Whatever happened to men who are sweet and chivalrous and treat you well? I'm not saying there can't be conflict, because, you know, everyone's got a little crazy side to them and everyone can get rude and say things they don't mean, but not that being his entire personality. Maybe I'm just out here with my healthy standards and boundaries, I don't know. My last point is that I need books that have other things going on besides the romance. Don't get me wrong, the romance is some of my favorite aspects of some of my favorite books. I feel like if you're watching this, you just think I'm a cynic and you're like, oh, she just doesn't like romance. Not true. I consider myself a great hopeless romantic, okay? I love love, and I love reading about people in love. It makes me cry and it makes me yearn. So I do enjoy reading about love, but in order for me to care about the characters, I have to have other opinions about them in other contexts. My biggest issue with November 9, which I talked about in my vlog, was that nothing else happened in that book besides them being angsty about each other. Like, I'm serious, there was minimal plot that wasn't their angst and love. I mean, I will give it to Olive in The Love Hypothesis because homegirl, you know, she was grinding. She was trying to get her research funded in order to, you know, learn more about pancreatic cancer, which her mother died from. Like, okay, there's some motivation. I do like that. But some of the others that I mentioned, the only plot has to do with these two characters. And personally, I need to care about the characters and what else is going on in their lives before I'm like, ooh, you guys should kiss. Okay, so since I do think that you guys all assume that I hate love now, I'm going to give you some of my favorite books that have romance in them, really great romances that I love, but have other things going on as well that make the book even better. The first one is a book that I recently posted a video about, and it is the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, and it is about a writer named Juliet Ashton following World War II, and she becomes friends and correspondence with the people who lived on the island of Guernsey while it was occupied by Germany during the war. And so she decides that she is going to write about this island and write a book about them, and it's about her and her relationship with the other people on the island, people on the island's experience during the occupation and how they suffered and how they banded together. And it has such amazing themes in it besides the romance, but then the romance is also there and it's also amazing. There's a great love triangle and it's so good, but it's so good because you care about Juliet and you care about the other characters involved in the romance because you know what they've gone through and you want them to be happy because they've suffered. The next series is a YA fantasy series that I just finished recently, and it is the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black, or the Folk of the Air series. This is a great example of these kind of books that I'm loving because the main character, Jude, is just a badass, okay? She knows what she wants. She's a human living in the fairy world, and she has to figure out how to survive living in this world because they all hate humans. But she girl bosses her way up into the high courts, into these other positions that I'm not going to spoil, but you're dealing with a serious enemies to lovers romance as well, and I'm talking about these characters hate each other. I will admit I'm being a little hypocritical with this choice, okay? I'm not perfect, because Cardan is horrible to her, and I did just talk about how why would we want to read about men who are horrible. So just like, don't mind me, but there are exceptions to every rule, okay? So just know that I'm aware it's a little hypocritical, but the other points I make stand. But each character is so well-rounded, and Jude has other things that are going on in her life that are important, and you're like, yes, girl, I want you to succeed, that when they finally, you know, start figuring their feelings out for each other, you're like, okay, let's be happy. You deserve it. You've worked so hard. And next we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I've talked about this book a few times on my channel, but this is a magical realism book about a man who is a social worker for magical children. So it's his job to make sure that they are being cared for properly, and he goes on this special assignment to this house that houses these extremely dangerous children, and he has to make sure they're in good conditions, they're being treated well, and that they are not going to bring about the end of days. And so we follow his relationship building with these children who he's scared of at the beginning, to the caretaker of the children, a man named Arthur, and you just become so invested in them as a family that the romance between the two main characters is great and you love it and it adds. But if the romance wasn't there, the story itself would still stand on its own. And I think that's what I need. I need a story that will stand on its own even if the romance is not present. So maybe this video is just me coming to terms with the fact that I don't like contemporary romances. But those are my thoughts about contemporary romances. I have just really been talking this through with you guys. I'm taking a break from the genre because, like I said, I haven't been enjoying it recently. I feel like maybe I'll come back if I just want to read a fun love story where that's the, you know, center of the story. But as of right now, I think that that's not my vibe. And obviously, no judgment at all to anyone who just loves contemporary romances. I know that there's tons of people out there and this is just their jam. It's what they like to read. It's the way that they like to escape. And I got all respect for that. But this is me coming to terms with why none of these books have really been sitting right with me. And I'm wondering if anyone else is feeling the same way as me, because I would love to find a kindred spirit in the comments. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that if you agreed, leave a comment and let me know. And if you disagreed, leave a comment and let me know why. All love here, baby. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And I will see you in my next video. Bye. Ew, not the peace sign.